All right, Planet X, we're back with Kevin Popovic, Director of Idea Lab, chilling here at SDSU. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for being here.
So today we're going to be talking about the Zon Innovation Platform and the Idea Labs. Can you tell me what the Zon Innovation Platform is?
Sure. The Zon Innovation Platform is a platform created for the students, faculty, and SDSU community to help improve their understanding and experience with ideation and innovation.
So there's several parts of this. So can you explain more of the Idea Lab?
Sure. The Idea Lab was created just about a year ago through a grant from the Moxie Foundation to extend their impact here at San Diego State. The Idea Lab helps people generate new ideas and solve problems using creativity. We work with people, teams, and organizations here on campus and throughout the business community.
Is there any big projects or any big names you can tell us about coming up?
Well, we've got a lot of big projects, some things that we've done already. For instance, we've worked with the Big Data Hackathon, which is an event annually held here at San Diego State for about 150 programmers looking to solve a problem. We worked with them to help understand our design thinking process, which gives them a framework for addressing the problem statement, working through a process, and generating a better idea.
Sounds like a very successful way to be involved with Kevin Popovic. So you guys are doing all sorts of things at SDSU. Is there anything fun and for the future? What can these students really look into in being an innovator? How do they get involved with the business startups, making their business better, and et cetera?
Oh, there's a lot of different ways that students and businesses can get involved with the San Diego community and our Zon Innovation Platform. For instance, you'll get people who are looking to generate a new idea. Right? People want to do something. There's a lot of motivated people in our community, but they're just not sure where to lean in. So they can work with our teams to help identify where their passion lies, where their interests can support that passion, and perhaps identify an idea that really means something to them. We all know that when we're really into something, we work harder, we show up more, we really lean in. And that's what we're trying to help people do. Find something that they're passionate about, that makes a difference in the world, that helps other people. And we give them a process for generating that idea.
Perfect. Planet X, let's go check it out. What's up, Planet X? Gavin chilling with Kevin, Director of Idea Lab here at SDSU this week. We're going to be talking about some Slyboard. I just interviewed the owners of Slyboard. They were just on Shark Tank, sold the business to Mark Cuban, Ashton Kutcher. What is your opinion on that?
I think that Shark Tank has done a lot for a lot of different people. I think originally it was meant as an entertainment vehicle.
Yeah.
I think it's achieved that. Right? They've rotated some really entertaining people who had a lot of insights and experience to share, and it has been entertaining. I think it also has been very educational. I think a lot of people have been exposed to what does it really take to generate a business around an idea. What's a good idea? What's a bad idea? Who are the people involved? And how does a deal actually come together? So for all those points, I'm a big fan of the show.
Any suggestions how to get on the Shark Tank?
How to get on? I have a great idea that people see a lot of potential in. And I think that you will work your way through those filters. I think a lot of people think that they've got a great idea. We get people that show up here that think they've got a great idea every day. Most people's ideas aren't as great as they think. And one of the things that we try to do is to help provide objectivity and perspective, because we really do want to work with people to set them up for success. We're not here to tell you, hey, you have a bad idea. We're here to tell you there's a way to make your idea better, and we can help you do that.
They don't deny you. They give you some more love than you already need.
A lot of love, a lot of encouragement, but also a lot of pragmatic approach to understanding the difference between something that you think is awesome and something that the rest of the world thinks is awesome. I had a mentor once who told me that he was going to be my Dutch uncle. Did you ever hear the phrase Dutch uncle?
Absolutely.
Right? So for those of you who hadn't heard it, he tells me that he's going to tell me things that I don't want to hear, but I need to know. And he was very right in providing that kind of information, because yes, some of the stuff was hard to hear, and some of the things I absolutely didn't want to hear, but it was honest and it was the truth, and it made me stronger and it helped me to succeed.
Well, it sounds like we're going to go see our Dutch uncle. Planet X will be right back with more. Planet X, Gavin here, chilling with Kevin. Thanks again for coming out. We really appreciate it. So what we're looking for is San Diego is sports nation. I mean, this is what people think about when they come to San Diego, is this sports community. But there's so much more to this than what we're looking for. It has to start somewhere. Can you give our audience a kind of a tour of the San Diego scene for innovators?
Sure. I think that there is a great ecosystem that has evolved over time, and a lot of different people have contributed it, including San Diego State. So, for instance, in our community, we may start with the Lab and Entrepreneurship Center, which is where our students can go to learn more about entrepreneurship. We also have an entrepreneurship minor now that students in any college can take to learn more about being an entrepreneur.
Oh, nice.
Right? And then from there, they have to generate an idea, right? What am I going to do with these new skills that I have? And that's where they come to Idea Lab to help generate a new idea or solve a problem that they have identified, because therein lies the opportunity.
Makes sense.
After Idea Lab, they graduate into the Launch Pad, where they have two different tracks. There's an experience track. You gain experience working with ideas and teams to develop this idea. And then there's a launch track that prepares you to launch your business. Now, after they leave our community, they can go into community like, for instance, an Evo Nexus, who then can accept these teams who are now prepared. They have an idea of a product or a service. They have a market identified. They have a team together. And at this point, they're developing prototypes. So that's one of the ways that our community is preparing people for the ecosystem in San Diego State or in San Diego that can then go into other programs like Entrepreneur Organization, Young Presidents, WPO, Vistage, and it grows over time. More and more opportunities to support them as they make their own impact.
A lot of opportunities here with Kevin Popovic. Sounds like they definitely know what they're doing, everybody. So once we have this idea, we have this product or placement of what we want to do, where does the money come from? Where's the opinion on the crowdsourcing?
Yeah.
We all have these ideas and we want to make it happen. Most of them take a lot of money. What's your opinion on crowdsourcing or any other new ways to get that money?
So money is the necessary evil. As much as you are a passionate person, passion doesn't keep the lights on, right? Passion doesn't pay that developer. Passion doesn't pay the salaries for the people who at some point are going to consider this a job. So, for instance, at San Diego State, at the Launchpad, at a certain point when you meet a criteria, meaning that you have your team, you showed up, you did your work, you submitted, you were evaluated, you hit a certain criteria, you can apply for initial funding. For instance, there's a program at Launchpad where you can get $5,000 to put towards the development of your program. As you continue to build and show proof of success and progress over time, there are additional funding opportunities as well.
And that's through San Diego State?
Through San Diego State. That's how committed our school and our platform is to building student success.
That is amazing. I can say thank you for our young minds. What is another way to get some money? If my idea, the college isn't picking up on it, but I'm still like, you know what? I'm going to be the next innovator here. What crowdsourcing is out there? Is it a Kickstarter a good thing? Is that not a good thing?
It depends on the project. Some people were looking at Kickstarter because it's gotten a lot of notoriety. Sure. There's all those great success stories that like, all they had to do was fill out a form and made a video and they got $1 million because it's just that easy. It isn't. It isn't just that easy, right? It's like playing the lotto, right? But there's some things that you have a greater chance of getting funding. Okay. For instance, look at the people in your network, and this is as much as looking at your parents, looking at your relatives, looking at the people that you already know who know you. And who see that passion and that dedication that you have a history with. And depending on the amount of money, that might be a resource for you. Right? You can also look at some microfunding opportunities through different organizations, associations, membership groups. Many times there are programs for a couple $100, a couple $1,000. Again, depending on what you need at that time, you really want to find something that's a right match. And I'll share one piece of advice that a lot of young CEOs will tell you, that not every money is good money. Right? Sometimes you have to remember, right? There's always a quid pro quo. I can give you money and you're going to give me what in return?
Exactly.
Right? So at the time you're thinking, well, it's only 20% of my company. Multiply that out a couple years out. When you hit yours, that 20% costs you a lot more than you think.
Absolutely. Planet X, Gavin Fleming, Kevin Popovic, Director of Idea Lab. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Glad you could come down. Glad we could show you around and share a little insight of what we do here at the lab. You ever want to come back, you're more than welcome. And please, anybody at home who's interested in learning more about Idea Lab, you can check us out at idealab.sdsu.edu or on social media at zipidealab.
Check them out. Go hit it. See you guys later.
So recently I presented at TEDx SDSU a presentation I called How Creativity Can Change the World, One Bad Drawing at a Time. And as funny as the title may sound, it really actually does have quite a serious point. And the first thing that I did in my presentation was ask the person in the front row to look at the person to the left or right and draw their face in 60 seconds. Now imagine if I asked you to stop, turn to somebody you don't know and draw their face and then show it to them. What would happen? Most people get very apprehensive and nervous, and what you'll see is most time people are making excuses before they actually even try something creative with creativity in it, because they've been conditioned over time that they're not very good and they get poor feedback. So what I try to do is break down those barriers in my presentation to make you more comfortable, because most people are uncomfortable, but drawing is a form of visual thinking, and it's able to communicate much more than words can at some time. So over time, I'm trying to get people to remember what it was like to be a kid. Remember when you were 5 years old and you would draw something, you would come and scribble something together and you would show it to your mom. And your mom was like, "Oh, honey, that's so awesome." And what would your mom do? She would hang it on the refrigerator just like all the other moms would. So now you got praise and you got recognition. And then your dad would come home and your mom would go like, "Oh, honey, look what our little darling drew today." And your dad would be like, "What the heck is that?" And your mom would slap him on the shoulder and say, "Oh, it's a pony." And you're like, yeah, that's a great pony." So then what did you do? Then you drew a pony for your dad. And your dad's really jazzed now because he has to hang up the pony picture. But you got more reaffirmation that you did a good job. Well, at some point, those kids all get into kindergarten, and then you start getting parameters and directions, right? You have to stay on the paper. You have to color inside the line. You have to use the right color, because if you start drawing bloody red ponies, then you get a trip to the counselor's office, and that's a whole other conversation. And then you find that there's other kids that are really good at drawing ponies. Like Susie is awesome, and all of your friends says that Susie is the best pony drawer. So at some time now, it's a little tough to be in the pony drawing business, and it's not as fun as it used to be. So now you start to find other things that you do get accolades and recognition in. Math, sports, science, whatever else, but not creativity. So over time, you lose your creativity. In fact, studies show that 98% of 5-year-olds are tested as divergent thinkers, whereas 2% of 25-year-olds are tested. So you do lose your creativity over time if it's not used, but much like a muscle, you can regain your creativity, and that's one of the things that we can help you do here at Idea Lab.
Planet X, Gavin Fleming, chilling at SDSU still here. I'm going to show you a little bit more about what Kevin was just talking about. I'm going to introduce you to Francesco. Started as an intern here in the program just a year ago, and now he's the manager. Francesco, tell me all about that.
So basically, I got to know Kevin through like a professor in a class, and I got introduced to the lab, and was very interested in the topic of what they were teaching, like design thinking. Always been interested about that. Kevin is definitely an expert on it, and I wanted to jump on board, learn more about it. And I worked my way through. I've been in here. I learned a lot from Kevin throughout my first semester here. I actually came in September, so my first semester was last fall. And learned a lot during that semester, started running some workshop, learning more and more about the material. And then with time, I started to like manage clients that came in with their project and everything. And all of a sudden, the new semester, new interns were coming in, and I had that background already, that experience, and I got to manage these people. And throughout this semester, that's pretty much what I did.
Innovator. Francesco, I think that's all I needed to hear. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Planet X, check us out.
Hi, this is Kevin Popovic. I'm the director of the Idea Lab at SDSU. Check me out on Planet X.